we were surprised when we got out and looked into the internet and looked at people that do this kind of work, and very, very few actually referred to the spiritual formation side, growing spiritually as leaders. We have a notion that's foundational to us, which is loving, learning, and leading. We call it L3. And so our process, essentially every time we get together, we spend time loving God and then loving on each other. And what that does, builds that trust, allows the free flow of ideas to come on, allows me to say, I'm not sure I know what I'm doing here as a leader. Or I can say, I'm not sure you got a good view on that. Let me share what I'm thinking. And so we're now at a richer level of dialogue than you'd ever get in a normal church meeting.
One of the things that SLI understands is that there are a lot of great leadership programs out there, that leadership has been talked to death in so many circles in so many different places. And the idea that SLI brings that is so much deeper than that is that this is about a process, beginning with the individual, beginning with me. And as I continue to be transformed and continue to live into what it is, the gifts and the calling that God has brought on my life, putting together a team, it helps us develop and live into a process of understanding who we are, why we are, and what is it that God has intentionally planned, not only for me, but for my church and for the community and the world in which we live. It's not about doing church, not about doing religion, not about doing Christianity, but rather being the people we're called to be so we can impact our worlds for Christ.
Generative ministries, ministries of multiplication, really are the bedrock of the way that the Spirit works. Looking at all of the examples throughout history, the book of Acts, where the movements that have happened within history, they're all generative. In someone aligns themselves, someone has an idea and steps out, and all of a sudden God steps into the mix and things happen.
We're open, we're vulnerable, we share life, we learn and we love together and then lead together. So this wholeness of not just work together but be friends, be learners and be leaders really helps.
As a coach, one of the things that we find in every environment we go to are that pastors are alone and are experiencing extreme isolation. There is extreme pressure to know everything about everything in their given context, and they're encouraged, even trained sometimes, to be heroic soul leaders. SLI, we come in and we want to walk alongside those pastors. We want to, first of all, as we form teams, help them understand they are not alone.
SLI can help us to refill the empty glasses that our hearts usually are. But besides that, I think each country, each culture has very different values and different behaviors. So you have to figure out how to connect with the culture.
When the Spirit of God moves, things multiply. And so that's what we mean by generative, that when people are together, things grow in us, we're able to give that away to other people that are then able to give it again. That kind of Spirit-led multiplication is what we're referring to when we talk about generative fruit. We've all been in places where transformation was hindered in some sort of way. And so we're into creating environments that actually foster transformation, knowing that only God can bring the transformation we want to see. But we recognize that certain environments are more conducive to transformation happening in the lives of individuals in the room, as well as corporately, as we move toward God's vision.